Alright, so here it is. It just showed up today. This is a Everlast 82i. From what I've seen online, there's one video I saw of a guy, he was cutting at least up to 1.5 inch thick material with it, so that's going to be more than enough for what I need it for, but I didn't really buy it for this project. I've really needed one of these for a really long time. I'm going to get this thing set up. I've got a little dolly cart thing here that I'm just going to sit it on for now until I can build something better. I might work with this, or I might build something better. I haven't totally decided yet. But anyway, once I get this thing set up, we'll do some cutting. Alright, it is material day. So this sheet is 5 foot by 10 foot, which gives me plenty of clearance for making the end caps for our rear wheels here. I went with 1/4 inch thick, which is pretty beefy. The basic idea is the plasma cutter hanging out over there. I've got a, for lack of a better word, kind of like a jig made that basically all I have to do is drill a hole, it bolts down, and it holds the gun of the plasma cutter, and basically it's going to allow me to cut what should be a perfect circle. I didn't go with a 4x8 sheet. The wheel ends themselves only need to be 4 foot. But I didn't want to get into a situation where basically, you know, you're coming right dead to the edge, so you might get like a little flat spot or something, which actually on this, it really wouldn't matter all that much if that happened. But anyway, I like this size material. It's going to be nice to work with, and now that I've got a plasma cutter, all the extra bits that are left over I'm going to use for other stuff. So here's what I'm going to use to cut, hopefully, a perfect 4 foot circle. The idea is this piece down here, I've just kind of got rigged together. This just kind of holds the cutting torch of the plasma cutter. So that'll go into this little holder, and then this pipe clamp just kind of holds the handle in there, and like it looks kind of junky because it's just scrap I've thrown together, but basically these two sides keep it from going either way this way, and then this front piece is just, that's how far forward it goes. So it can't turn, it goes all the way forward, and this clamps it into this piece of angle, so it really can't go anywhere. And to make the adjustment, there's a piece of round stock and then a piece of angle iron there. And basically I just loosen these and I can slide this in and out. I don't have it quite set yet, so it's not quite 100% where it needs to be, but all said and done, it has pretty much zero play in it as far as in and out, and spins around pretty easy, so hopefully that should get us a perfect circle for the most part. So now the compressor's finally turned off. It's a little smoky, but honest to God, I think that was a really good cut. For someone who's done basically almost zero plasma cutting, this turned out really, really well. There's a couple little areas like right here where I sort of went a little too fast or doubled back, where I had a little tiny mess up, but for the most part, it's pretty much a perfectly clean cut. And you can even see here on this side, it's basically weld quality metal. There's really no prep work that needs to be done. Gonna let my garage air out a bit. We've got a little bit of a smoke situation going on, but once I get all that done, we will transfer this over here and we'll cut another circle. Alright, so now that we have our circle cut, it's time to cut yet another circle. A little smaller this time. As you can see, I've had to shorten my circle cutting jig here a little bit. I had to chop off quite a bit on each piece. Basically, what has to happen now is, so this is the outside diameter of the tank. This next piece getting cut is the inner diameter of, I guess you could say, the wheel center. So not from here to here, but from just inside this bolt, but right before it curves up and all the way across. This is where one of these bolt holes would line up, and then somewhere over here would be the rest of the rim. So the bolt hole, this guy, is going to land roughly, in fact you can kind of see the drag mark from the guard on the plasma cutter, but basically that's going to land somewhere over here. Originally I had the thought of welding the wheel center to this and then this to the tank, but I think I'm actually going to keep the bolt style, and I'm actually going to bolt it to this piece. They make some pretty good marine adhesive, like a caulk, that I can basically use to seal this all up. And I think the reason I want to do this is because this wheel is going to be abnormally long. If something lifts up on the far edge, it's got a lot of leverage over the hub. So my plan is, if in the event that this thing got into something nasty, maybe it hit too big of a wave, hopefully this in here where the lug pattern is, or this bolted on piece, is what'll get bent or distort. Because this can be easily replaced. Cutting out and welding up one side of the tank is not so easy. So basically I'm just doing this so that this can be taken on and off, and kind of to make it sort of like the weak point. I'm hoping it's the weakest point in the whole thing. So if we do have an incident or it wants to bend, this will get damaged, not the side wall of the tank. So that worked out really, really well. So at this point, basically I can flip this over, tack it, I can sort of look along the edge on the underside, and I'll be able to see how centered it is or not centered. And I can probably just kind of temporarily tack it, and then we'll flip it back over, and then we'll mark and drill each of these holes, and basically I'll weld a nut on the other side, and then the bolts can just go in from this side. I took and put this on the hub of the tractor here and let her run it in gear, and I just took I've got a whiteout marker, and there's a little bit of space between here and where the wheel center, or the outer wheel ring, needs to go. Basically because there's a little bit, it's very hard to see on this camera, but this metal starts to raise up pretty much right where that white mark starts, and the ring is cut so that it's laying flush on this surface, which it's going to need to when I put the sealant on and bolt it together. It can't be raised up on this at all because that's going to leave a gap. So that's basically what's going on here, but one of them is together more or less, as goofy as that looks. But I did the same thing. You can see it hiding in there. There's that white line, and the one mark is sort of more towards the inner, and then you can see there's a very thin little line. Because I did this one, it wasn't quite enough, so then I did another one, and that's right there on the edge where that ring starts. But I'll start her up here and show you how accurate we got it. If the tractor starts. Not the safest thing to do in the world, but basically the tractor is acting like a lathe at this point. And as you can see, if you look at something in the background there, if I can hold the camera steady, we have very, very, very little run out, which is good. So that means that that thing is centered onto that about as good as it can be. So yeah, not the safest way to do it, but certainly a way to do it. So yeah, that's what's going on here. I'm going to get the other outer ring put onto here, and then we'll repeat all this all over again.